Okay, so I'm going to talk about stink bugs very quickly. Let's hope I can forward this. Oh, go back. So brown marmorated stink bug was unintentionally introduced to the United States from Asia and in Pennsylvania, I believe. And it's a significant agricultural pest. And in places where there is agriculture, where there are orchards and fields, that is primarily where you're going to see stink bugs overwintering indoors. And you can see that apple has quite a bit of damage there. So you're not seeing them so much in cities, you're seeing them in places where agriculture is close by. And they have a typical life cycle like any stink bug, from eggs to 5 instars. But here is our home invader. It is always the adult. They don't reproduce indoors. They don't really do anything indoors except spend their time in the wintertime. So the only home invader you see are adults. And you may see a lot of them. In the past, we've seen aggregations of millions of them, thousands of them. These are at a light in the summertime, and you can see sprinkled in there are some green stink bugs and ladybugs. But this is sort of what people were dealing with at first. I think the problem's moderated a bit, but this is a good example of their aggregation. So in the late summer, they're seeking overwintering sites. And you can see in these pictures where stink bugs are crawling around on the outside and they're looking for a little opening. In the fall and winter, they are dormant. In the spring, they emerge. They can emerge indoors, especially like on a nice sunny January day. They may be flying around, flying at lights and things like that, but they're looking to get out. They think it's spring. And by the time they do get out and start feeding and reproducing over the summer, that's when we really don't see them. So they're really only problematic when they are coming indoors to overwinter. Now, we want to prevent their entry. That is really what we do. That's how we solve the home problem. So it's very difficult to really find the places where insects are getting in, but it's worth looking at some things like exterior vents. If you have a vent over your hood of the stove or a vent from the bathroom, and you have stink bugs getting in, you want to put a screen over that, a window screen, not a hardware cloth 1/4-inch screen. They'll get through that. You want to seal utility chases where pipes and wires come into the home, because contractors never seal those things up. You want to eliminate gaps anywhere you find them, like think of a window frame on the 2nd floor and whether or not something can get under that window frame from below. Weather stripping and metal mesh and sealants, not caulk, but sealants will help you with that. And sealing around doors and window frames and fascia boards and at the corners of eaves and things like that. Replacing and repairing damaged screens is always recommended for every kind of overwintering pest. And as soon as you can, remove that window air conditioner, because at that time, when summer starts to cool off a bit, that air conditioner can become the source of a lot of different overwintering pests. There's plenty of holes around an air conditioner. And of course, close the fireplace flue when it's not in use. In the fall and spring, when you see insects in the attic or wherever they are, the brown marmorated stink bugs may be alive, they may be dead. It is in your interest to remove them, because even dead insects will attract other insects. So we recommend using a HEPA vacuum or a HEPA filtered bag inside your vacuum, or a HEPA filter. And use, you may want to use a dedicated vacuum, because stink bugs smell. They have a very particular odor that is not necessarily pleasant. And once they die, they smell even worse. So dispose of them immediately. And if they're alive in there, put whatever you can in the freezer, or just in a bag and in the garbage. Do-it-yourself traps are good for that spring emergence. So when you start to see them flying around, you want to put something like this, set it up in the dark. It could be up in the attic. It could be in the dark as you turn off the lights at night. And the pan has some kind of surfactant in it, and the light, make sure that light does not tip into the water. But if this is set up and it's the only source of light, you'll have all your overwintering flying insects getting caught in that water. So that is a good home remedy right there. And just a last thought, natural enemies help us control all kinds of things. And yes, brown marmorated stink bug may be invasive, but it has enemies, including its own little parasitoid wasp and other things that are predators in the landscape. So we want to be cautious and conscious about how much pesticide we use in the landscape, because your helpers are outside in that landscape. So if you want to know more about brown marmorated stink bug, you can come to our website. This one's hard to find, I've discovered, but look for fall intruders and then you'll see that page, and Amara was going to post the link in our chat here. And we have information on other types of control options. So thank you. Thanks for your attention.